Things are heating up in the WNBA. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all of your support. Hope you all are having a fantastic day. Of course, shout out to the 19. Quick favor, like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content. I truly do appreciate it. Uncensored and unafraid. We are going to talk about some Olympians. Olympians. Yes, because some Olympians from all over the world have gotten together and say, "Hey, WNBA, this stuff with Caitlin Clark, man, y'all are not handling this well." And it really feels like since the Alyssa Thomas incident, things have really ratcheted up to another level that I think for now is for worse in the short term. I'm hoping in the long term, it's actually for better. But in looking through what these athletes had to say, I thought it was really interesting because there's like, a thought or a sentence in each one that had me go, oh yeah, that right there, that nails it. That we need to talk about a little bit more. And they each sort of hit on something. I mean, some of them reinforce the same thing, but they all seem to hit on something a little different that is incredibly important to talk about. And hopefully, coming from athletes like this, that maybe it carries a little more weight out there in the public than the Caitlin Clark fans saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. I think y'all know how that goes. So I want to dig into some of these. The first one is Nancy Hogshead, a three-time Olympic gold medalist swimmer for the U.S. She said the WNBA needs the courage to act decisively for athlete safety. Caitlin Clark is a generational superstar, but she deserves the same protection as every player. The WNBA cannot continue to allow any dangerous conduct to go unchecked. A fist pressed against a player's throat is never just part of the game. It's wildly unacceptable, WNBA. Enforce your rules, hold offenders accountable, and put athlete safety first. Now, of course, the biggest thing that stood out to me is right away when she talks about, hey, Caitlin Clark deserves the same protection as every player, because that again is one of the twists of the narrative whenever Caitlin Clark fans get upset about the shots that are taken at her during games and that the officials don't protect her at all. The league doesn't protect her at all. And then, of course, the old God WNBA and the Caitlin haters all whine and complain. Oh, they want special treatment from Caitlin Clark. Oh, they don't want Caitlin Clark to be guarded. Stick it up your, where the sun don't shine. No, we want exactly what she is saying right here. Caitlin Clark deserves the same protection. And look, if there is not enough protection for all the players, then I'm on board with more protection for all the players. But Caitlin Clark should get the same protection as the rest of the players in the league. And also, when she mentioned this fist against the player's throat thing, also incredibly important. But I don't think people realize in this day and age how hitting neck above the shoulders, I guess I will say, the neck and above, it is a huge, huge no-no in every single sport, and yet the WNBA doesn't seem to do a whole lot about it. Now, this next one I want to read before I mention the athlete, and I think you will understand why after we get into the quote, and then I tell you who it is. As an Olympian, I've always believed sports has never been about what you look like or where you come from. I love that. Just right there. I'm like already, I love that sentence so much. Sport used to be the meritocracy, maybe even the last meritocracy, and it's been changing, and I don't like that. It's always been finding the answer to the one pressing question. Can the champion stay on top, or can the next contender rise up and take their place? The athletes who prepare the hardest perform when the pressure is the hardest, and deliver in the biggest moments are the ones who earn respect. Caitlin Clark has done exactly that. Yet instead of celebrating her elite competition, too much of the conversation has shifted to who she is rather than what she's accomplished. She has faced repeated hard fouls and relentless criticism that if roles were reversed, people would now use race as an excuse, and the league always looks like it's reacting instead of leading. The reality is that Caitlin Clark brought unprecedented attention back to the WNBA. The league had passionate fans before she arrived, but her impact expanded the audience in a way that's hard to ignore. That's what transcendent athletes do for their generation. They elevate the sport. Every era has someone willing to push the standard higher, and that's how sports grow. Her legacy is already taking shape. The challenge now isn't proving if she belongs because she has already shown that. It's continuing to perform at an elite level while the league does its part to protect its players and let the competition, not the controversy, be the headline story. That is like that whole thing is absolutely fantastic. And the reason, if you listen to some of the statements that, get on to tanning issues, Anthony Watson, first Olympian to represent Jamaica in skeleton. So yeah, Anthony has a bit of a tan himself, but he is not messing around. Sport is a meritocracy. Doesn't matter where you look like. Anyone over 40 probably understands that, right? Like we get it, that we've actually gone way backward. It was a lot better. We've actually gotten a lot worse in this country, right? And then he makes it even. He does the thing, hey, if the roles were reversed, but and I don't want to just leave it as, oh well, and it's sad that we have to do that, right? Which is kind of my point. I don't want to leave it as, well, look at Anthony, hey, he said, but sadly that's where we are. But let's be clear about this with Anthony. That whole thing that I just read you was absolutely fantastic. But I did want to mention that specifically because we all know how that goes if someone else were to make the statements that Anthony made just now. Donna De Verona, two-time Olympic gold medalist swimmer for the U.S. For those of us pioneers who had no college or professional sports opportunities and have worked tirelessly to elevate all women in sports, the abuse behavior directed at Caitlin Clark is disrespectful and short-sighted. A talented performer in any sport lifts up everyone. Players who do not understand this are undermining the WNBA. That is so freaking wonderful. Players do they don't, right? They don't understand that everything they're getting, all these opportunities, the endorsements, the bigger contracts, the new CBA, it is all because of Caitlin Clark. And I also want to bring out the beginning because I thought it's so cool because ever since Caitlin Clark got into the league and she brought all these fans who are new to the WNBA, most of them are basketball fans, but they're new to the WNBA. And all we kept hearing about, oh, it's so disrespectful that you don't know those players. It's so disrespectful that you don't know the history of the league, as if you have to pass an exam. Well, as she says right here, for all of those of us who didn't even have not only no professional opportunities, but no college and everything we went through to get that for you in Title IX and all of these things, and this is what you do with it, this is what you focus on, that is disrespectful. Katie Ulander, U.S. skeleton athlete, five-time Olympian. That is insane. Anyway, holy cow. That's what I thought when seeing a fist on Caitlin's throat. Then to hear Sophie say she feels they are targeting her. What's being done about this? I love this next sentence. Pay attention. Safety is not a political issue. We all know everyone's making it political, though, right? All players deserve fair play, safety, and sports are at their best when the focus is on the game, not on whether the integrity of the officials are up to standard. If athletes are questioning the officials, what is the WNBA doing to address that? I want to see the integrity of the rules upheld consistently. So should the WNBA. And therein lies one of the massive problems is I think, because I've thought about this so often. I look at some of these calls and non-calls, and I see where the officials are looking right at things. And when you're looking at something that is so obviously a foul, if not a flagrant, and you don't blow your whistle for anything, I can only assume that's purposeful. Like you can't be that incompetent that it's purposeful, which also means leads me to believe that is coming from above, right? Which is a massive problem. But again, she also hits on. Okay, got it. Yeah, yeah. She also hits on the fairness stuff of, again, we don't want special treatment for Caitlin. We want the same treatment for Caitlin. All right, next, because here's another good point too that is different so far. Stefan Gebhardt, I think it's Gebhardt, Olympian and world champion for Germany in modern pentathlon. As someone with a German mother, I will tell you the German language is not an easy one. The goal of every functional sports league should be to promote the sport and the athletes in the sport. The goal of all of the athletes in the league should be to showcase their athleticism to the fans. When the public focus of the league becomes peripheral drama having nothing to do with the fundamental sport, the league will always suffer. Oh my Lord, is that the WNBA to a T? 95% of the discussion of the WNBA has nothing to do with the product on the court, which is ultimately what's going to determine the success or failure of the league. Instead, we got to deal with all of the other stuff, the political stuff, the race stuff, everything going on with Stephanie White and the Fever and Amber Cox and Kathy Engelbert and the other players targeting Caitlin and the fans and players talking about threats they're getting and on and on and on and on. Oh my goodness. Eli Bremer, U.S. modern pentathlete. Love this first sentence from his thing, man. This is so true. Nails it. The WNBA never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Yeah, that about sums up the WNBA, folks. Having spent years falling all over themselves, seemingly trying to build a social movement rather than an actual sports league, they are now botching a once in a generation opportunity with an athlete like Caitlin Clark. Nailed it. Finishing with a little emphasis if the WNBA wants to become a truly relevant sports league that offers women a high paid professional opportunity, they will need to clear out the petty drama and focus on building a world class sporting operation that supports their star athletes. There's an idea. Focus on the basketball. But sadly, even before Caitlin Clark, which was a massive part of the problem, they were focused on other things. A little bit of humping, or I should say a lot of humping, only a little bit of hooping. And finally, I want to finish off with Carrie Engelbert Zimmerman, U.S. women's gymnast, all the way back from Montreal, 1976. The WNBA has not been aggressive enough in protecting Caitlin Clark. Every player in the league deserves the same safeguards when they step on the court. The WNBA's responsibility is to enforce its rules consistently and make it clear that talent should be challenged by great basketball, not by unchecked cheap shots. I mean, these Olympians are nailing it left and right with everything. They all kind of focused on a little bit of a different aspect, but this one also finishes off with something we've talked about before. And I mentioned another quote that's so important is we don't want special treatment for Caitlin Clark. We want equal treatment for Caitlin Clark. And she is absolutely not getting that. Hopefully, from what I'm seeing from the Alyssa Thomas thing, especially when the WNBA tried to twist the narrative and make her the victim, is a whole oops, don't mind my itchy trigger finger. It just hit the pause button. What was I saying? Yeah, the WNBA's got to just give her special equal treatment. I thought I told a putty tat. I did see a putty tat. Uh, Equal treatment, man. Treat her like everyone else. Stop allowing the cheap shots. Stop allowing the dirty play. Yes, people can guard her. That is perfectly fine. Anyway, I thought this was really insightful. I'm hoping this we're seeing a momentum build that change actually happens in the WNBA at some point soon, before Caitlin Clark says enough of this, or before her body says enough of this. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the drill. I will talk to you later.